Yo, what's good, YouTube? Scoot here, back with the NNDL. We've got Season 8, week number 11, and we're taking on Ryan, coach of the RB Leipzig Zagoons. And I think he's ranked number 4. Very tough opponent. He's played very well this season. He's got an immaculate squad as well, consisting of Mew, Mega Aggron, Gliscor, Azumarill, Arcanine, and the Regigigas. And he also has the Dragapult, which is phenomenal 20-point Pokemon. With all kinds of different things it can do with the Raikou, Medicham, and the Meganium. So, pretty cool squad, especially the Mew. Pretty much can be custom built to anything with any move with base 100 stats across the board, which is really nice. Mega Aggron's a tank and can set up Stealth Rocks pretty safely. Has access to phasing moves like Dragon Tail and Roar, which is pretty cool. You got Gliscor there. Very annoying Pokemon to prep for with the Poison Heal, Sub, Toxic Protect, whatnot, things like that. The Azumarill, also an issue. I do think he's going to bring the first 6 that I don't think he's going to bring the Dragapult, because I have Clefable and Mandibuzz, as well as Tauros and Munchlax. So, might not come, could come. I can understand why it would come. It outpaces my entire team outside of my Mega Alakazam, and does pretty much neutral damage to everything except the Mandibuzz and the Clefable, in which that the opposite stab does at least neutral damage. So, I do have ways around it if he brings it, because I am bringing my Clefable, and I don't. Like, Raikou's really good against Suicune and Mandibuzz. Nice revenge killer for Infernape, perhaps the Tauros. But I do have Nidoqueen and Serena, and it's really hard to break both with Raikou. So, that being said, let's talk a little bit more about his team. First of all, he's played phenomenal this season. I think going into week 11, he is 7-3. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we are going to be 6-4. So we're 6-4. He's 7-3. 1 game above us. So this game's huge for us, actually. So speaking of huge game and huge mons, Mew and Mega Aggron are very fat and both have access to hazards and are his only 2 hazard setters outside of Gliscor, which only gets Stealth Rocks. So he does have the Aggron and Mew, which also get Stealth Rock, as well as Spikes and Toxic Spikes. He's got Defog as his only way of removing hazards, and Gliscor and Mew as well. So if either of those are setting hazards, probably not removing them, and one of the 2 is probably a remover if he decides to bring him. He's got Heal Bell on the Mew, Aromatherapy on the Meganium. Doubt that comes, though. Not really a great matchup versus me. I guess it can come specifically for the Suicune, but Suicune's not that big of an issue for him. Anyway, so priority-wise, he has like Azumarill with Aqua Jet, Medicham with Bullet Punch and Fake Out. Mew also gets Fake Out. He's got Extreme Speed on the Arcanine and the Raikou, Faint on the Mew and the Gliscor. He's got Quick Attack on Dragapult, Gliscor, and the Raikou, Sucker Punch on Dragapult and Mew, as well as Vacuum Wave on Medicham and Mew. So with Mew having all sorts of different movesets, it has all sorts of different priority moves as well. And he pretty much has, like, if he brings the Gliscor, the Azumarill, the Regigigas, the Mew, I think he's going to bring all of those. Most of those can remove items with knockoff. And he has 3 taunt users in Mega Aggron, Gliscor, and Mew, as well as some hazards, or excuse me, not hazards, but screen setters, Light Screen, Aurora Veil, and Reflect, and quite a few different Pokemon. He is, he's only on a 1-game win streak since he lost to Jacob the week before. I think that was week 9. He won in week 10 versus Jam, and now he's facing us. So I'm not going to talk too much about my prep because he's a likely playoff opponent if we both make it to the playoffs, which 7 wins is what everybody's aiming for to try to lock a spot. So he's pretty much secured playoffs, not guaranteed because differential and 6-0s can happen, and other teams can finish with 7 wins, and such as myself, or I could possibly not finish with 7 wins. But yeah, I will talk about what I revealed at team preview. So we'll hop into the battle now. Alright, so here we go with the replay, and immediately I notice my opponent doesn't bring the glitch score and chooses to bring the Metacham for the first time this season. So as soon as I seen the Metacham, I figured it's probably going to be some kind of offensive breaker, perhaps choice band, maybe life orb, or some kind of muscle band or black belt or something. And I figured he's just going to try to weaken. Since he brought the Dragapult, I figured he's going to just try to weaken everything with the Metacham and then clean up later with the Dragapult. And with his squad, it looks like a pretty good idea there. But we are prepared, so let's go ahead and kind of. He didn't bring the Arcanine or the Regigigas, which I thought were going to come. I thought both of those were going to come. He chooses to bring the Raikou and the Dragapult in place. He also doesn't bring the Gliscor, like I mentioned, with the Metacham in place of that. So, pretty tough squad. I felt like, well, his only 2 potential rockers are going to be Mew and Mega Aggron, and I felt like obviously my best lead to get up hazards is going to be Nidoqueen or Clefable, or perhaps my Infernape. But Mew kind of deters that, kind of makes me want to lead with maybe my Mandibuzz and just go from there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead off with my Mandibuzz and see what my opponent wants to go for. And he does lead with the Metacham here, so I'm just going to click the Brave Bird as he goes for the Fake Out. And yeah, I'm just going to click Brave Bird again. I'm pretty much back at full as he switches out to the Azumarill. So I'm going to get some nice damage off on this. That's nice 31% actually, which is fantastic for me. But he does have the Azumarill in here. I'm going to go immediately into my Suicune because I have the Rocky Helmet, and I will be able to chip him down quite a bit here. So I think I just fire off a Scald here, not wanting to risk anything. Didn't want to double just yet. He does go out to the Dragapult, in which I'm going to go into my Mandibuzz. And I would really like to have a knockoff, but I actually packed the Foul Play. And he's going to come in with a Draco there. And see, knockoff would have been nice there for getting rid of his leftovers, which would have been good for me. He does switch into his Mew, predicting my Nidoqueen to come out on his Raikou, which is exactly what I do. Predicting him to predict me to switch out, or perhaps anything else but taunt. I figured he might knock off or attack with Psychic, so I'm going to try to get up Toxic Spikes, because Toxic Spikes are really good against the Metacham and the Raikou and the Mew, given that my defensive core kind of can switch into those and make it a longer game. And in my favor too as well, since I can heal up pretty much. So here I go for the Scald as he keeps his Mew in and clicks Taunt here, and I just wanted damage off. I didn't want the burn. Obviously I'm packing Toxic Spike, so I don't want this thing burned. But the one time I don't want Scald to burn, it does burn. So unfortunate for me. He is able to Toxic me as well. So he predicted my Nidoqueen to switch out, which was really nice. Here I'm going to switch into my Mandibuzz and see what he wants to go for here. I think he's just going to taunt me to prevent me from roosting up. I could click Foul Play, but what I'm actually going to do is switch into my Alakazam, predicting his taunt. So now this thing, if it's max HP, max PDF, it should be in range of a 2-hit KO from Shadow Ball if he decides to attack me here. So I'm just going to go for the Shadow Ball as my opponent switches out into the Azumarill. I trace the huge power, which is really nice for me, I guess. Going to be throwing off some Zen Headbutts here in a minute. So I made a conscious decision here to let Alakazam pick up this knockout. And as you can see with the Aqua Jet, he does 44%, leaving my Alakazam extremely low, actually. So, I mean, not extremely low, but around half. So Medicham, Fake Out into Bullet Punch knocks me out. Sucker Punch from Dragapult or Mew knocks me out. Thunderbolt from Offensive Raikou likely knocks me out. Shadow Ball definitely will. And Mega Aggron one-shots me from this range. So that's a little bit unfortunate for me. And I do believe he goes straight into the Medicham here and goes for the Fake Out again, in which I'm going to go into my Clefable. Can't allow that thing to just fake me out. And I can't knock him out from full anyway. So it'd be nice if I had rocks on Clefable here. He does switch out to his Aggron. I might have been able to double there into my Nidoqueen, predicting the Aggron to come out and get up Toxic Spikes or Stealth Rocks. However, I go straight into my Nidoqueen. As he predicts that, goes for the Earthquake. I get my Toxic Spikes up as he goes for another Earthquake, and then I get my Rocks up as he knocks me out. So I'm okay with this exchange because I felt like as long as I got Toxic Spikes up, Mana Buzz could go down, and Nidoqueen could go down, and the Raikou wouldn't be that big of an issue. Unfortunately, though, the Mew doesn't get poisoned because it is burned. A little bit unfortunate for me. I do take the opportunity to rest up, predicting him to Roost. So now what I'm going to do is go for the the Sleep Talk, and try to get that roar, start roaring things around. Unfortunately, that's not able to work out for me on this turn. He does go for the Psychic on the following turn, and Sleep Talk, I do get the roar and brings out his Mega Aggron. So I should wake up on this turn, so I'm just going to click Scald. I think, yeah. And he goes into the Mew, takes Rocks damage, takes burn damage, and is at 65% here. I could roar here as he goes for the taunt, but Scald getting damage off is a little bit better of a play here. I could hard switch into Mega Alakazam on this play, which is exactly what I do, and predicting him to Roost up. So now I'm going to fire off the Shadow Ball once again and see what can happen here for me. Does a nice 49%, get the Spadef drop as he goes for the Toxic. So that's a little bit unfortunate for me. This is probably only the second play I regret. The first was allowing this thing to take Aqua Jet damage when I could have switched into Suicune and it would have died to Rocky Helmet or fainted to Rocky Helmet. And I could have clicked Taunt here and prevented this Mew from Toxicing my Alakazam, which is a huge win condition for him now that he's got that off. So I'm just going to fire off another Shadow Ball. He does go out to his Medicham. I thought this thing would drop, but it actually only does 80% from a modest Mega Alakazam. Are you kidding me? It's crazy. He goes for the Bullet Punch here. I switch into my Suicune, and he drops to the Rocky Helmet. Yes, the Rocky Helmet. Predicting the Mew to Roost, I go straight for the Roar, and I'm just going to click the Scald versus the Aggron as he gets up his Stealth Rock. So I'm going to click Scald again. I think I may Roar again, actually. Yeah, I do Roar, actually, predicting him to switch out to his Mew on that turn. And now I'm just going to click Scald here. A little bit of 50-50s back there, wondering whether or not I would go for the Roar or not. And here he goes into his, or he poisons me with the Toxic as I get the burn on the Scald there. So the Heavy Slam's not going to be doing much at all, and he does drop to the Rocky Helmet. However, I am able to rest up, getting rid of the poison once again, which is really nice for me. I do get the Roar here, which is also, again, really nice for me. The Raikou is brought out. However, I don't have my Nidoqueen anymore. So what I'm going to do is sack off my Infernape. I suppose this is actually one more play that I've semi-regret because it was another offensive way of dealing with Mew if it become an issue. I do have the Life Orb. Excuse me. I'm not going to reveal that set. I'm not revealing that set. Excuse me. I about did. So I'm going to go out to my Mega Alakazam here. I'm going to Revenge Kill the Raikou here. I can just fire off a Psychic. Was there a reason I went into my Alakazam and then switched into Clefable? I'm not sure what that was. Perhaps just wanting him to fire off to have another round of poison damage as I just Wish Protect, and then that way the Raikou for sure goes down to the Suicune and the Mana Buzz, so it can't take down the Suicune and the Mana Buzz rather. So now I can just kind of stall this thing out. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do is just Wish Protect, Wish Protect. Mew's going to come in. It's going to taunt, of course. It's going to be very annoying for me to deal with. I actually can't even use Sleep Talk after the taunt. I do allow this thing to get poisoned. I didn't have another play. Mew kind of just wins at this point. My plan was kind of to just allow Mandibuzz to use the burn damage and foul play damage to kind of leave it in range of being 2-hit KO'd by my Mega Alakazam, which just wasn't quite enough here. I go for Taunt, hoping that maybe the Mew would stay in and I could 2-hit KO it, but he does switch out to the Dragapult. He gets taunted instead. I just go straight for the Shadow Ball, and then I feint to the poison myself. Now I have nothing to break this Mew with, and he does have quite a bit of Roost left, as well as being able to poison my Clefable, which isn't Magic Guard. So he will be able to outdo me in this one, picking up a clean 2-0 win. I do feel, like I said, it was mostly my fault because I allowed Alakazam to be poisoned and take almost 50% from the Azumarill, when I could have easily allowed Suicune to take that damage. But yeah, it's going to be a really good game to Ryan. He's going to move on to 8-3, and we're going to drop to 6-5 now. And we kind of need wins in our last 2 matches now. Like, they're necessary. We need at least one to clinch playoffs. And even with differential, it's a possibility that we could maybe not make playoffs if we don't finish with at least 7 wins, maybe 8. So, yeah, let me know what you thought about the battle. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.